I'd like to call to order the December 17th organizational meeting. First order of business is election of officers. Education Code Sections 35143, 72000 require the governing board to hold an annual organizational meeting to elect officers and to set the date, time, and place for all regular board meetings. We'll first entertain the election of president, and I will receive nominations.
I'd like to nominate Jamie Dimond as president.
I'll second.
Okay? Any comments?
Thank you.
All righty. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Congratulations, Jamie.
Fabulous.
You're now president.
Okay, we are moving on now. Election of vice president clerk, and I will take nominations.
Nominate Andy Shaver.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We are now going to go to C2, establish 2025 regular board monthly board meetings. Establish regular monthly meetings of the Board of Education to be held typically at 5:30 p.m. on the second and fourth Tuesdays of each calendar month. Board meetings will be held in the Carpinteria City Council Chamber, 5775 Carpinteria Avenue, Carpinteria, California, or at the District Administrative Office or school site if needed. The location to be determined by the board. Board meetings in 2025 are scheduled for January 14th and 28th, February 11th and 25th, March 11th, April 8th and 22nd, May 13 and 28, June 10 and 24, July 8, August 12 and 26, September 9 and 23, October 14 and 28, November 12 and 25th, December 9th, per SB CEO for calendar planning purposes. The dates for scheduling organizational meetings in 2025 is from December 1 through December 20th, 2025. Any questions?
Need to approve the dates.
I'll move to approve the dates as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
C3, appointment of board members to various committees. Board member appointees. The following appointed board positions are not for designated agency representatives who engage in negotiations with the designated representatives for personnel matters, and so these committees are open to the public. 2024 County Committee on School District Organization Election. We had board member Green and Smith with an alternate of board member Bridgeford. For 2025, are we good with keeping that the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That'll carry over. 2024 Joint City Council and Board of Trustees Committee, we had board members Schaefer and Bridgeford, and I was an alternate. Are you good with that moving forward?
Yep.
Okay. Joint City Council, 2024 member of California School Board Association Legislative Network was myself, and I'm good with sticking with that. And then, let's see here. Okay, so we need to vote on the approval of the 25 slate as stated, which would be a status quo.
I'll
vote.
move to adopt the assignments as we just discussed.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that work is done. Okay, we are now moving into regular session of the board. Can everybody please rise for the flag salute? Ready, begin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have our closed session report. We had a conference with labor negotiators. Information was exchanged. No action was taken. And we are now going to move on to public comment for items not on this agenda. I want to clarify because we have some new folks in the room. When it's time for public comment, I'll let you know, and you guys can just stand and line up behind the podium. You don't need to fill out a card or anything like that ahead of time. Just when I say it's time, go ahead. And so I'm saying it is time for public comment for items not on the agenda. Please feel free to get up to the podium if you'd like to say something at this time. 3 minutes.
Hello, is it on? Yeah, okay. Dear members of the Carpinteria School Board, fellow teachers and community members, this is my 30th year teaching at Aliso. I'm addressing you all to make it clear that I, and I believe most Carpinteria teachers, support our union and its representatives. The teachers' union works on behalf of the teachers to negotiate for salary, safety, and other factors that influence working conditions and employee satisfaction. Although the union represents the interests of teachers and staff, it also makes for better and healthier schools because it works to have competitive compensation and benefits. And this promotes a positive and productive work environment. And we all know this to be true. It also helps to retain qualified teachers who want to work hard to improve and stay in our school district. However, the negotiations have not proceeded in a respectful and productive manner for many years. A lot of resources that could have been better utilized have been wasted in a both sides lose type of situation. In our professional life, we sometimes need to work with problematic relationships. As teachers and administrators, we can have situations that try our patience and challenge us, and we need to find a way to communicate and cooperate to find solutions and compromises. We aspire to do this in a professional and respectful manner. In the new year, I would hope that the board and the people on the negotiating committee will try to interact positively and professionally with our union leadership throughout the negotiation process. Please do this to end the stalemate and waste of resources. Please do this to show teachers that you support, teachers and staff that you respect the union that is representing them. Please do this to help strengthen the resolve of the Carpinteria Union School District to work together to do the best to support each other. Please do this to help our school district remain a wonderful place. And please do this to help carry out our mission of being a caring community of professionals dedicated to educating and promoting health and well-being for the children and the families of Carpinteria. Thank you, and I hope that you all have a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ruby Avila, and I've been a special education aide with Carpinteria's Unified School District for 9 years. Thank you to all the board members for this opportunity to bring this urgent matter to your attention. We as a SPED department have been lacking the past few years. Unfortunately, this year has brought us to our breaking point. To be exact, neither the district nor the IAs from Room 6 in Catalino School have been able to provide the students a safe or productive teaching and learning environment. We started the school year without a teacher and had to go beyond our job description in our attempts to keep our students safe. There has been multiple incidents in this room due to the lack of a teacher and due to the lack of support from the teacher who was finally assigned to this classroom several months into the school year. Ms. Rugby, your duty to these families, it's not to protect your friends, but to protect our students' safety. Since you've been superintendent, there has been a lack in our SPED department. There are new hires with no experience who are getting paid much more than veteran employees who have worked here more than 9+ years and are not even being properly trained to perform the duties they are directed to provide. Why is that, Ms. Rugby? Why is it that our cry for fair wages, our cry to get the best quality education for our students, and our cry for the safety of our students in SPED department being ignored? It's a shame to see the same SPED department where I was once a kid fall apart. But I'm proud of the group of IAs I work with because each and one of them are very dedicated to the kids. One day I hope that you can take time away from all your lawsuits, Ms. Rugby, and at least visit Catalino, not just go in for a few minutes, but actually go into our shoes and understand the gravity within our classroom. I hope that all of you up there can step into our shoes and see what both employees and especially our students have to deal with on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I just start? Go ahead. Okay. Good evening. Thank you, Ruby. That was amazing. My name is Angela White, and I have been a teacher here at Carpinteria Unified since 1995. And I'm reading on behalf of the teachers and support staff of Catalino. We are collectively sacrificing time away from our families after a long day because we can no longer stay silent about the working conditions that deeply affect both us and our students. This letter represents the vast majority of Catalino staff who are committed to providing quality education despite these obstacles as we work with determination to shield our students from the difficulties that we face. Recent years have brought tremendous adversity. Today we raise our voices collectively because we are exhausted and demoralized by the current climate within the Carpinteria Unified School District. As a staff, we are apprehensive to sign our individual names for fear of facing retaliation. We feel strongly that it is time that the community is made aware of this situation. The working environment has continued to deteriorate. Our staff, students, and families deserve better. The atmosphere within the district leaves us feeling neither valued nor supported as we continue to hear that there's no funding for essential needs or pay that keeps pace with the cost of living. Negotiations have completely stalled, and we've reached an impasse. Meanwhile, and this is the hardest part to say, the district administration has awarded itself back-to-back 5% raises in July of 2023 and July of 2024, while offering the teachers and support staff only 2%. This disparity is disheartening for those of us who work daily with students building their futures and investing our hearts in our work. Our silence has not been due to apathy, but rather due to the continual decline of morale and constant fear of retaliation for speaking up. We remain disheartened at the district's denial of reasonable requests for adequate compensation, curriculum resources, consistent instructional assistance to support our classrooms, particularly when full-day aides were promised. Diana Rigby, you promised us full-day aides in K when we went to full day. But this support is eroded down to as little as 2 hours of kindergarten classroom support for a 6-hour day. There are continual changes to aid coverage to fill other needs on our campus, as Ruby was talking about, making it extremely challenging for teachers to plan for effective classroom learning. We need the community and the board's support to bring about the changes that would truly benefit our students and the staff who dedicate themselves to them every day. Our working environment is strained by a severe lack of classroom resources and inadequate training opportunities. Basic classroom supplies such as paper and science materials are rationed, and teachers are continually shamed for making necessary copies to address Common Core standards. Professional development opportunities that would benefit our students and build teachers' skills have dwindled, while unrelated district spending continues unchecked. I'm going to stop here and let my colleague take over because I know that it will be longer than 3 minutes, and I'd rather spare myself that sound.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Leanne McDonald. I've been with the district since 2020, coming in during the hybrid the hybrid year where our students were learning more at home than they were in the classroom. And just to continue with the collective letter from the Canalino staff and teachers, another area where we have great concern is our custodial services. The district has recently reduced the custodial staff, leaving the remaining custodians overwhelmed with their workload. This insufficient coverage, particularly when custodians are absent and there are no substitutes available, common areas in classrooms are left unsanitized and uncleaned, creating unhealthy environments for students and staff. Inadequate cleaning contributes to that spread of illness, further affecting our ability to focus on teaching and learning, especially as the district places a high priority on staff and student attendance. Unfortunately, our concerns go beyond inadequate resources and compensation. Our workplace culture has become increasingly demoralizing. Staff members have been publicly shamed for making necessary medical appointments, disregarding our contract agreements and personal dignity. Events like our family math night, which is really well accepted and entertained by the community, require extended hours on the part of teachers and aides who stay to prepare these activities to enrich our students' learning and our community involvement on campus. And yet the supplemental pay has not been in kind for the hours worked by the teachers and aides for those after-hours events. That leaves our staff exhausted after working a 12-hour day, with little support and recognition for this extra service that we provide. Additionally, our classroom supplies are restricted to overpriced catalogs, diminishing the funds that are available and often requiring teachers to make up the difference out of their own pockets. Staff transfers and reassignments have frequently violated the contract terms and disregarded teacher seniority. This has also created an atmosphere of insecurity across our campuses. Dismissive comments from district leadership regarding the importance of instructional aids further damages morale and undermines the support of our most valuable students and our most vulnerable students, as Ruby explained earlier. Our students deserve a committed staff that feels respected and supported. We ask that the district administration honor those contract agreements, that you recognize the vital work of every staff member and support the
I'm sorry, your
basic
time
needs
is up.
of our teachers, our aides, and our students in this district. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening to all members of Carpinteria, families, children, dedicated staff and employees who serve families, as well as the school board members and administrators who also serve this community. My name is Lori Lee Collins, and I'm an educator at Carpinteria Family School, a K-5 public school of choice for the entire Carpinteria School District. I always have to get that in. Dear district board members and administrators, I hope this message finds you and yours well. I want to take a moment to express my gratitude for your oncoming support and dedication to our Carpinteria Unified School District community. I've been so fortunate to have had a heartfelt connection with all of you. As an educator, I've always believed in fostering an environment where one feels loved, valued, and heard. Within this context, one feels safe and willing to be vulnerable, to take risks, to thrive in life. I feel this is all of our responsibility to lift the community, its families, and especially our students, so they internally and emotionally know they have the skills and support to thrive and not simply survive. As the upcoming new year approaches, I believe it's crucial to voice our collective concerns regarding the lack of cost of living adjustments and the maintenance of our health and welfare package. As a long-serving educator, I have witnessed firsthand the impact that a supportive environment has on our students and their families. It's vital for our community to feel safe, valued, and heard, and respected. Unfortunately, I have observed too many delays in negotiations not reaching an agreement before the end of a negotiation cycle. It is disheartening to watch this back and forth over the decades. I can see that our young, vibrant, and dedicated new employees are struggling with decisions about whether to continue personally trying to survive living in our district or to seek opportunities elsewhere that provide wages allowing them the opportunity to thrive. The rising costs of our living in our area have created challenges not only for our students and families, but also for our dedicated staff. Many of our educators and support personnel are juggling multiple jobs just to make ends meet. By improving our wage compensation and maintaining the health and welfare package, we can foster an environment where our staff can truly thrive rather than just survive. It is the district's decision to support our livelihood in order for us to thrive so that we may hold this ideal for the community of Carpinteria, its families, and the children we serve. I urge you to influence our negotiation teams and attorneys to meet with Causes team without further delay. This action is essential for our community, our families, and the bright futures of the children in our classrooms. Thank you for your attention to this important matter. I appreciate all your efforts, and I wish you a joyful holiday season.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Krista Munisich, and I taught Aaron's 3 children and 2 of Jamie's, and I've been with this district for a long time, and I just want to start by backing Ruby up in what she said. I don't think any of you really realize the true severity of what is happening and what they're going through. I'm in that hallway, and I see what they are going through daily. My 2 SPED kids are now on their 8th IA of the year, and they will have another one coming in January. That is not acceptable, and it is not okay. And those kids' needs are not being met as they were promised in their IEP. So something needs to be done about that. So Ruby, you and all the other IAs, I stand with you. So this is my 28th year of teaching at Catalino. I spent around 20 years as a union rep, e-board member, and part of the negotiating team. After only 2 years working with Mrs. Rigby and Mrs. Zapata and your negotiating team, it became unbearable. It was hostile, it was toxic, I couldn't do it anymore. And it's not okay, and I see that nothing has changed as negotiations are currently at an impasse. It's really disheartening. And Andy, you and I worked together a long time through those, and we went through some really difficult times, but we always were able to get through it. And it's really frustrating to see this administration not doing their part. So I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the staff who feel increasingly disregarded and undervalued by this administration. We, the support staff and educators in this district, were tired. We're tired of going above and beyond at the expense of our own health and families without receiving the respect and recognition we deserve. And what my colleagues alluded to, I had surgery in July, and to get these messages that it's not okay to take time off, and we're being reprimanded for time when that's due to us. We're working so hard, and when I get to work in the morning, and the only car in the district parking lot I see is Laura Lee's. Where are you? Your new car looks awesome. And then when I leave at the end of the day, no cars. So either the staff there is walking or riding bikes, or we're all working longer hours than you all. It's frustrating. We've heard a lot about budgets. We understand that money's tight, but we're here to tell you it's not just about money, it's about priorities. And right now, they're clearly misplaced. Staff are being asked to do more with less. More work, more stress, more emotional labor, and yet the district finds ways to grant not 1, but 2 raises to your admin. We're left without the cost of living adjustments that are necessary to keep up with the rising cost of living. It's demoralizing. It sends a message that the people doing the hardest work in the classroom and across the district aren't as important as those at the top.
Thank you.
Hannah? Will you finish? Hannah's going to finish reading my statement. Can you see, Hannah?
Sure, yes. Bigger.
Perfect.
Great, okay.
I'll scroll up for you right there.
We're also tired of being reprimanded for taking time off when we are simply trying to care for our own well-being. We work tirelessly, often putting in hours outside of the classroom, yet we are penalized when we are not in the classroom for health or personal reasons, something every worker is entitled to. We are constantly told not to make copies or to limit resources for our students, while we spend our own money on supplies just to ensure our students have the materials they need. Interestingly, this wasn't a concern last year when a staff member on the Catalino campus made packets of 100 pages regarding a union matter and placed them in every staff box at Canalino. How can you expect us to give so much of ourselves day after day when our own needs are being ignored? The time has come to show us the same level of care and commitment that we show to the students we serve. We need cost of living adjustments that reflect the true value of the work we do every single day. We need respect, not just in words, but in action. We need to see that you are willing to stand in solidarity with us, the staff who are shaping the future of this community. It is beyond time for you to act in good faith. This is not just about pay. It is about showing that you value us. We need to see that our efforts are recognized and appreciated with actions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Maddie Maple. This is my 7th year in the district. I started at family school, and now I'm at the high school. I'm going to be reading on behalf of Kelly Pierce, who's with me, English department at Carpinteria High School. So, she says, "Dear members of the school board, I am writing to you not just as a veteran teacher with years of experience, but as someone who has grown increasingly disheartened by the current trajectory of our school district. I have dedicated my career to the education and well-being of our students, yet it is painfully clear that the district has strayed from its primary mission to serve the needs of its students by fostering an environment that attracts and retains high-quality educators. Our students deserve the very best, and we as educators strive daily to provide them with the knowledge, skills, and support that they need to thrive. However, the reality of our district's salary schedule and the high cost of living in our area makes this goal increasingly difficult to achieve. The district's refusal to fairly compensate employees has created economic instability not just for myself and my family, but talented and experienced teachers are leaving for neighboring districts or even changing professions altogether. I know this because many of my friends and colleagues have left CUSD in recent years for this reason. I've also looked. EdJoin is full of positions in this area offering salaries tens of thousands of dollars higher than what CUSD is willing to offer. This is not just about money, it's about respect and value. When teachers are forced to choose between staying in a district they love and providing for their families, the message is clear. The district does not prioritize its educators. This not only impacts teacher morale, but it also directly affects our students, who lose the continuity and expertise that seasoned teachers bring to the classroom. Year after year, we hear about the district's financial constraints, yet other districts with similar challenges find ways to invest in their educators. Why can't we? When teachers leave and are also not replaced, it creates a ripple effect. Larger class sizes, less individual attention for students, and an erosion of strong relationships that are essential to effective teaching and learning. In the CHS English department alone, 3 teachers have left in the past 3 years and only 1 has been replaced. This year, 2 out of the 4 of us are teaching 6 periods with no built-in time to prep or grade for those 6 classes. This is not sustainable. The cost of turnover, both financial and human, is far greater than the investment required to retain quality teachers. I urge you to take immediate action to address this crisis. Reevaluate the district's priorities and budgets to ensure that competitive salaries and support for teachers are at the forefront of decision-making. Engage with educators to understand their struggles and concerns. Most importantly, remember that the success of our students is inextricably linked to the well-being of our teachers. We are at a crossroads. The decisions you make now will determine whether our district can continue to provide the high-quality education our students deserve and whether we will lose the dedicated professionals who make that education possible. Please choose to invest in us, your teachers, your students, your community. Sincerely, Kelly Pierce.
Thank you.
I'm going to take a little bit of a different angle. Hello, my name is Sarah Rocklitzer. I'm a teacher at Carpinteria High School. I have a sophomore at CHS and a 5th grader at Family School. Today I want to talk about looking toward the future, the long game. I want to discuss what is going to become of CHS by the time my son reaches high school, far past the 3-year certification of your budget. Right now, the torchbearers of Warrior Spirit are our senior teachers and staff. Art Menores, Julie Rubio-Shamblin, Pat Cooney, Charles Bryant. They plan community building events, they organize and oversee, they show up, and they exemplify to everyone what it means to be committed to students and to have warrior pride. But you know they are not going to be around forever. If we lose them to retirement without passing along that torch to new young teachers, we are going to lose it. Right now, we are not valuing, attracting, and retaining high-quality new teachers. We are a revolving door for people to get their start and then move on to find better-paying jobs elsewhere. Lately, we have teachers that don't even last through an entire school year. Young new staff don't stay long enough to learn what it means to have warrior pride. A culture in a school is cultivated over time by mentors who show the way. I am so disheartened by the clear possibility that by the time my son gets to high school, that concept is going to be non-existent. And also, we are a staff full of unicorns. As enrollment declines, teachers are tasked with wearing more and more hats, teaching a variety of courses that require wide-ranging skill sets and experience and multiple credentials. We have already seen how incredibly difficult it is to replace people when they retire or leave for better pay and no commute. We basically gave up trying to replace Elise Unruh, and she has graciously come out of retirement to save our entire music and performing arts program. It was shocking to see how fast that beloved and important program could have and would have disappeared without her. When we lost Sal, we lost our entire ag welding program. Good luck trying to find someone who can run a ceramics program, but only for 3 periods because we need them to teach digital photography for 1 period and run a specialized digital art class for freshmen for another period. And also, don't worry, little 25-year-old new hire. You'll be fine juggling Art 1, Art 2, Art Honors, Art AP, all in 1 class period of 36 kids. Because we have such an impacted master schedule, there's no other way to do it. Oh, and if we get in a pinch, we might even ask that same person to give up their prep and teach Spanish as well on their 6th period. Thank goodness you have 3 different credentials. Good luck, HR. We are on this precarious precipice where I am not seeing a way forward for CHS without a complete turnaround in how we value our teachers and compensate them in a way that allows them to stay and see a future for themselves.
Thank you.
In the last 18 months, district officials have led the district to impasse, failed to ratify a single agreement with district employees, and rejected over 100 contract improvements proposed by employees, to include no less than 35 proposed improvements for district safety and student well-being. They fostered working conditions resulting in the exodus of no less than 70 district employees since January 2024, conditions that left the majority of those remaining silent and uncertain until tonight. They spent and accrued approximately $3.5 million taxpayer dollars in legal fees and legal debt. $3.5 million invested not in district students or families or learning, but rather in failed attempts to punish elected employee representatives and obstruct the collective bargaining process. And they failed to invest approximately the same amount on investing in district employees, which can be found confirmed in the annual audit attached to item H3 later this evening. But you did provide the entire CUSD administrative team, not 1, but 2 salary increases totaling 10 to 12%, while offering district employees 2 to 2.5%. The quality and maintenance of the labor relationship is the most influential component district officials must resolve. It impacts every aspect of CUSD's operations. What if district officials listen to those who share employee experiences, even in a professional culture of fear and uncertainty? What if our officials began genuine collaboration with elected employee representatives, moving forward together to better serve our students and families and even the district? What if teaching and learning environments better reflected the insights of those who work closest with students? What if $3.5 million had not been spent on disciplinary attacks, unanimously determined discriminatory and retaliatory by PERB, and unfounded and illegal by the state's Office of Administrative Hearings? What if that money, $3.5 million, and similar future investments are instead invested in critical district resources like employee salaries, student programs, safety measures, or even a future theater or performing arts or pool or athletic center? What if you set aside the personal and political animus and focus on the mission as described in your own mission statement, where you commit to, and I quote, to providing quality educational programs in a caring, positive environment which promotes self-esteem and mutual respect. And mutual respect. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Julie Rubio Shamblin, and I don't have anything prepared, but sitting here, I think I just want to look at you guys and speak to you. Born from a grandfather named Marcus Cravens Lane, my grandmother, Baylord Avenue, Ed Rubio, descendant from Pedro Jimenez, the first Chumash Indian in this area. And I want to tell you, this can't possibly be what your objective was when we took these positions. I am not at all versed on any of the details, but I can tell you this, hear their words. They're shaking here. They're upset. We're feeling like we're disrespected. I know many of you. I know where your heart is. Like, listen to this. This is not Carpinteria. I am Carpinteria. This is not Carpinteria. We do not do this to our staff. We are the fabric of this community. I don't know the exact answers, I don't know the numbers, and I won't play to. But I do know when we have people of value, and I see this every single day, these are the trailblazers. These are the difference makers in this community. I was born and raised here. They are why I stand up here, all right? And I just think that whatever has happened in the past, we must move forward. We must. And I'm challenging you to recognize the morale and their lack of at this point. This is not Carpinteria. And I'm speaking from everyone in this community. This is ridiculous. You have our best of our best up here shaking, speaking to you guys. I mean, they're asking for your respect. Like, can we not come together and do this? I don't have the answers. I wouldn't want to have your job, but I do know how humans can work together when that is the ultimate objective. And I'm begging you to listen to the people that have spoke with you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Jay Hutchner translation. En los últimos 18 meses, los funcionarios del distrito han llevado a un punto muerto. No ratificó el distrito un solo acuerdo con los empleados del mismo distrito y rechazó más de 100 mejoras de contrato propuestas por los empleados para incluir no menos de 35 mejoras propuestas para la seguridad del distrito y bienestar de los estudiantes. Condicionaron empleos, resultando en la salida de no menos de 70 empleados del distrito desde enero de 2024, condiciones que dejaron a la mayoría de los que se quedaron en silencio e inseguros. Gastaron aproximadamente $3,5 millones de los contribuyentes en honorarios legales y deudas legales. Millones no invertidos en los estudiantes, familias, ni el aprendizaje del distrito, sino más bien en intentos fallidos de castigar a los representantes de los empleados electos y obstruir el proceso de negociación colectiva. Pero sí, proporcionaron a todo el equipo administrativo del distrito no 1, sino 2 aumentos salariales por un total del 10 al 12%, mientras ofrecían a los empleados del distrito un aumento salarial de 2,5%. ¿Qué pasaría si nuestros funcionarios comenzaran una colaboración genuina con los representantes electos de los empleados para servir mejor a nuestros estudiantes, a nuestras familias y al distrito? ¿Qué pasaría si no se hubieran gastado esos $3,5 millones en ataques discriminatorios e infundados e ilegales por la OHA del Estado. ¿Qué pasaría si ese dinero, esos millones, se invirtieran en salarios de empleados, programas estudiantiles, medidas de seguridad, incluso un teatro, artes escénicas, una piscina y un centro deportivo? ¿Qué pasa si se deja a un lado el ataque personal y político y se centran en la misión como se describe en la declaración de misión del propio distrito, que nuestros funcionarios mismos afirman que están, y cito, comprometidos a brindar un programa educativo de calidad en un ambiente positivo y efectuoso que promueva la autoestima y el respeto mutuo? End of translation. Now I would like to make my unpublic comment.
Your time is up.
Oh, okay.
His translation, he's permitted to translate.
No, he translated, excuse me, please sit down. It is not your turn to talk. You translated somebody else's statement,
Correct.
not your own statement. If it was your statement that needed to be translated, then yes, you would have additional time for that, but you read a separate statement. You're not translating your own right now. So,
Well, it's exactly what I did. And
I understand. And so what I'm saying is
the Brown Act,
that statement has now been said in English and in Spanish. It would be one thing if you wanted it translated at that time. So now you're asking to do another statement,
yes, correct,
separate.
my own personal statement. Different statement.
Yeah.
No, I always, I don't write any statement.
Okay.
Correct.
So I'm just being clear. I set the standards are the same for everybody.
Yes.
I will allow this because this is apparently this is what we're going to do for right now.
Yes.
But I just want to be very clear that
All right.
when the time is the same for everybody and the rules are the rules. So I just it doesn't matter who it is. I that's how it stays even.
All right, okay.
Go ahead.
Let me begin. Monica,
Go ahead.
Let me know. Yeah. I have a question. How many board members of you, how many of you are teachers or former teachers? No? No one? Okay. I think that it should be a requirement to be a board member. I'm going to tell you why. As a former teacher, I know what it is to be in the classroom, not for 5 minutes or 10, no, for years and years. And that's the only reason that should be a requirement to be a board member. I was there with you for 4 years, and I know the experience. I know what it is to have a decent salary. And some of you are paid politicians. How can you survive with a 2.5% increase? No. How many of you are driving from Oxnard or Ventura to teach in our district? I think that you have to think inside the box and outside the box to make ends meet, to improve the budget. I think that we all need a finance specialist, let's say from UCSB, and no one related to the school district, no, specialists from UCSB or UCLA, you name it, so that he can teach us, he can teach you how to improve the budget so that you don't misuse it. It's the same story. 2016, 2017, I was with you, and it was the same problem. No salary increase. No salary increases. No. So I think that, and it's all right. I mean, I told you back then, it's okay to a year or two being caught off guard with the budget, but not for 10, 14 straight years. No, there's something has to be done, something, and I think that you should all go through a finance course. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any further public comment for items not on the agenda, please step up to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Martha Rugg. I work as a assistant at Catalino School. I don't have anything prepared. I wasn't going to come tonight, but we drove by and saw the parking lot was full, so I had to stop in. I wanted to say that I appreciate what you guys do. You guys have worked really hard as volunteers in this community to try and understand some really tough issues. And I think that where we're stuck right now is that there's a lot of people whose voices aren't being heard. And there's a lot of reasons that you guys are staying where you're staying. And what I think we need to do is we need to all sit down at the table and have a conversation. And if that's not possible with the representation that we have in the union, then I think we need to get new union representation. And I know that's not a popular opinion, especially in this room, but I have watched probably the last 15 meetings, and it's been stomach churning to see the concerns of the teachers and the staff go by the wayside because the representation we have is not suitable or palatable for consumption. It's just not appropriate. And I urge everybody in this room to go back and watch meetings because nobody deserves to be treated, no matter what they've done. And as elected officials, they deserve somebody to come at them with respect. And furthermore, I have almost a master's. I've worked for 13 years, and I make barely $20 an hour. So I've also pinch hit a couple times in the classroom, more than a couple. And I'm very proud of the work I do. I'm very proud of the work I do. I love my job. I love sitting with the kindergartners every day. So I think I deserve more, but I understand where you guys are coming from. And I just want to let everybody here in the room know that you guys don't deserve what you're getting. So I'm going to go home now. Night.
Thank you. Any further public comment for items not on tonight's agenda? Yeah. Excuse me, I don't need the comments. Thank you. You can come and step up to the podium, please.
Hi. As a member of the public, not any fancy position that I may have gotten, but, I've been a student at Carpinteria Main School, Catalino, and middle school, and now the high school, and I'm finishing high school right now. I'm on my way to college, but, getting to that point of looking back at my teachers and realizing, dang, they might not really like being here, It's really sad to see because, I'm a first-gen student, and realizing that my teachers might not want to be there to teach. It really changed my view on why should I be studying. why should I stay here at this union or at this unified school district? Why should I stay under these teachers who are not happy where they are? And usually when I think of a teacher, at least how I was taught in elementary school, they're somebody who supports students. And knowing that now that those who are above them don't support those students or those teachers either, it really shapes how I see this school district, and it scares me realizing that some students outside in our schools aren't being taught at the highest level that they could be. You know, submitting all these college applications, it's scary. Who knows if all these classes that we take, that our teachers have to prepare, that our teachers have to work for us. I could definitely tell it's not easy on them, because I could tell when a teacher is happy to be teaching a subject that they like, and once that class ends, once that facade falls, it's devastating to see what being a teacher is really like. And I want to be a teacher, you know. I want to build onto the future. I want to help students and help children become the best that they could possibly be. And it's very scary that knowing that if I do become a teacher and say, for whatever reason, I come back to this CUSD district, it's scary that, you know, I might not be able to provide for my mom, who's gone through many surgeries, many problems, and knowing that because I'm an only child, you know, it's very scary that, you know, I might not be able to provide for her. Say I have a family, it might be scary. And, you know, knowing that these teachers have all had families, it's scary. It's very worrying.
Thank you, Angel. Okay. Oh, here we go.
My name is BJ Shamblin. I'm Julie Rubio Shamblin's husband. Not a teacher, but watching a student do that, this is not Carpinteria at all. Not the town that I was born and raised in. I was actually a student rep for the school board in that same role. Not Carpinteria.
Thank you. So just to be clear, there's no action that can be taken on what you're saying, like for us to do something right now, but I do want to address the impasse process. Just some of this is not, you know, all encompassing of what I've heard. There has been so much shared, and I'm really grateful for that. What I do want to make clear is with the impasse process, we are in mediation. We have had several sessions that have gone back and forth, and the frustrating part is it is confidential, so we are not allowed to discuss what was offered. I can say that there has been a subsequent offer. I'm not allowed to say what the offer was. Your representative should have shared that with you. He can't share that either? Okay. So I'm not, this is my first time in the impasse process, so I'm trying to understand, which makes that all the more frustrating that you can't share it with your membership either. And so we're waiting for a response. And the next steps would be then, if the offer is not accepted, would go to fact finding, and that's where essentially an outside third party looks at the numbers and the offers and comes up with what is possible. So we did, for the first time, beginning earlier this year, have 2 board members as part of the negotiations team. I do believe we had some really good sessions, and we had some really unproductive sessions. I also had a lot of really great conversations with teachers and staff outside, getting their feedback and input on what they value. And so I appreciate hearing from even more of you. And I personally, I want you to know that I do value you and I do appreciate you. My kids have been in your classrooms. Our kids have been in classrooms together. I've known Angel since he was in kindergarten. And so I agree, this is not what Carpinteria is. It is a very toxic situation right now. And I wish that it was, I naively came into this, and I'm speaking for myself, and said, well, what if we just put all the past whatever that had happened behind us and move forward? And I'm not the first person to have said that, and neither are the people that have said it tonight. I wish it was that easy to just clean slate and move forward. I wish it was as easy as, doesn't matter. I want you to know that I've heard you and I appreciate you coming. And I am not on campus nearly as much as I used to be, but when I am, feel free to grab me. Most of you know how to get a hold of me or know how to share my info to get a hold of me with somebody if they want. I try and make myself available. And so, that's...
So I think that, I know that all of us up here understand and know that you need a COLA. I think that there's no question about that. Jamie explained the process we're in right now. And I agree that respect is very important, mutual respect. But I also, you all need to be aware that there's only a certain pot of money available, right? And that pot of money it has to be spread out amongst the priorities, and certain priorities have been established by the union, and we're going to do our best and hopefully resolve this without going to fact-finding. But I think we all agree that and I think we all understand what you've said tonight, and I don't think there's much disagreement with many of the things that were said.
Okay. So we're now going to move on to D4, approval of the minutes. If people are going to leave, we'll give it a minute.
Thank you, everyone. I think they got their answer on their laptop.
So, D4, approval of the minutes. We're approving the minutes of the regular board meeting, November 26th, and the special board meeting of December 10th. Any questions from the board? Public comment on approval of the minutes?
Thank you. If I'm unable to share, or if I'm able to complete this statement, Chris Mastervito will step up and complete the statement on my behalf, or on the union's behalf. I'm not sure what you were waiting for in regard to the impasse offer that you provided. You are correct that neither party's permitted to speak about it, and you are lucky that we're not permitted to speak about it. I do think you got your answer, though, to what that would look like from the responses you heard this evening. Let the minutes show that the district provided its first interim budget report at the November 26th board meeting. Let the minutes show on page 4 of this budget report, it was clarified that when applied to total expenditures, the district with an ADA-like ours must not allow the reserve balance to drop below 3% for up to 3 years out. The report also confirmed that the reserve balance remains as many as 3 times higher than the mandated 3% reserves in years out, even with the district's deficit spending accounting model and projections. Let the minutes show the district, as it has for several years, has artfully accounted for the first interim budget to again under-project revenues and over-project expenditures. Let the minutes show that this accounting method allows the district to once again claim that it is deficit spending and that its reserve balances are insufficient to invest in either meaningful employee salary increases, which we heard Mr. Schaefer alluding to, equitable compensation values, or measures that would relieve the hardships employees are experiencing as the cost of living, over 23% in the last 2 years, has far outpaced the value of employee wages. Employee wages that have not been raised in over 18 months. Let the minutes show that the CUSD drastically reduced its reserve balance projections by slashing projected property tax revenues for the next 3 years. This reduction alone has resulted in an over $4 million decrease, on paper that is, in tax-based revenues being included in the district's budget. And as predicted, and apparently a strategic result, has once again happened on paper, driving down the district reserve balance during the period that employee salary increases are being negotiated. This is not a coincidence, but an administrative and accounting tactic, and it's used to disempower employee financial interests, which are shared with the interests of our students and their families. Let the minutes show that while CUSD has played the same deficit spending accounting game for the last several years, under-projecting revenues and over-projecting expenditures, district leadership still found enough money to increase their base salaries and give themselves 2 salary increases in the same period. While spiking their salaries to values above regional averages, the CUSD has failed to provide.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Mr. Mastrovito will step in.
While spiking their salaries, I'm sorry, Chris Mastrovito, 8th grade science teacher and cause secretary. While spiking their salaries to values above regional averages, the CUSD has failed to provide employees any salary increase in, again, over 18 months. And as precedent, they are positioning to do so once again. Let the minutes show that on page 6, yet another mistake by Assistant Superintendent Fitzgerald, who, along with several other senior administrators, left the CUSD in a stampede for the door this spring, failed to pull out Santa Barbara HIP dollars from the 24-25 projected budget, and as a result, another $306,675 error has been found by Mr. Caff. Let the minutes show on page 7 that CUSD displaced the impact of the SB HIP reductions not by reducing admin salaries, but by reducing certificated salaries, classified salaries, and employee benefits of those working directly with our students and families. Let the minutes show that in the revenues area of the budget, the district fails to include any of the gifts and donations that serve to increase district revenues, some of which have been above $125,000. i.e. such as La Centra's similar in contribution at the last meeting. Let the minutes show that the CUSD fails to clarify what portion of either the recent $100,000, technically $99,337 increase, or the whopping $7.5 million, technically $7.476268 total, of services and other operations expenses is associated with the district's extraordinary legal costs, millions of taxpayer dollars invested in mismanagement, union busting, and actions found to be violations of labor law and statutory law, both by state bodies and the Public Employment Relations Board. Let the minutes show at minute 1:35:45 that Superintendent Rigby and Ms. Diamond mischaracterized the district's relationship between SELPA, Special Education Local Plan Area, and the district, suggesting that CUSD pays for the SELPA services, but does not receive services anywhere near the value of CUSD's investment. This is gross mischaracterization of CUSD's relationship with SELPA. Finally, let the minutes show that at the last board meeting, using false claims of disruptive behavior, the school board violated the Brown Act and the constitutional rights of public speakers by ejecting union leadership from the last board meeting. And let the minutes show that the board engaged in this illegal behavior shortly before the first interim budget presentation was presented in an effort to prevent elected employee leaders from sharing employees' observations and concerns at the time of the budget presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rogelio Delgado, Carpinteria resident. I always say Carpinteria resident because that means that I live here and that I'm a taxpayer. And as a taxpayer, I have the right to give you credit for what good things that you have done and also provide criticism for anything that doesn't look okay. During the first interim budget report, reserves are down to 4.3, 4.4. That's without taking into consideration teacher negotiations, nor the salary increase. So what's going to happen? Let's say, okay, we got the information that reserves falling, let's say, to 2.5%. The Senator Barbara then takes a look at the district and what's going on, 2.5%. Minimum should be 3%. Now, thinking right now, how about lawsuits that you have pending that, let's say, that you lose? What will happen? Where are you going to get that money? Or where is the district going to get that money? Millions. Will that cause some, let's say that, well, Fitzgerald said it, 2018, if the district fails to pay its obligations, let's say not even 2, not even 1%, then the state takes over. Meaning that a superintendent is removed and the school board is removed and the state takes over for 4 years until the budget is balanced. We don't want that to happen. That's why I said, well, you need to get educated on the budget, not by, let's say, any school district affiliate. No, that's why I mentioned UCSB, UCLA, finance expert, and to educate everyone how to handle the budget. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to move to approve the minutes of the last regular meeting and the special meeting of December 10th.
I'll second that motion.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, we're moving on to approval of the agenda and consent agenda. Any questions from the board? Okay, public comment for approval of the agenda and consent agenda.
So the consent agenda, as with the rest of the board agenda, is governed by the Brown Act. The Brown Act is designed to prevent the advancement of public business without transparency. It is designed to provide members of the community an opportunity to more thoroughly consider details associated with matters of district business before those matters are quickly processed through the consent agenda en masse. The Brown Act prohibits district officials from reaching 100% consensus decisions behind closed doors, a practice that obscures debate and prevents dissenting viewpoints and concerns from being placed on the public record. Like many of the district's legal responsibilities, it appears CUSD has little regard for the Brown Act. That is, until members of the community invest considerable time, energy, and money into lawsuits designed to hold you accountable. Only then do our district officials seem concerned about their performance, but that comes far too late, and it comes at the cost of students and programs and district families. Like the vast majority of previous meetings, CUSD once again places items on the consent agenda that are neither routine nor have they been brought before the public at any previous meeting. Setting aside the district's Brown Act violations, employees comment on the individual items as best we can in the time remaining in our 3-minute speaking opportunity. Employees support item 1, the field trip request for 97 students, Catalino and CFS 4th graders, and 40 adult chaperones to visit Santa Cruz Island. And conceptually, employees also support item 3, the CMS request for an after-school fishing program, as long as it will be funded through the Chevron grant, which is up for approval later this evening. If not funded through the Chevron grant, this item should be pulled and reconsidered because employees have been requesting several other significantly higher impact after-school investments that both Principal Pursoon and Superintendent Rigby have rejected under the guise of insufficient revenues and funding. In regard to item number 2, employees remain concerned about the district's implementation of this program, a 5-year contract to approve an agreement with Cal Lutheran for counseling internships. Although this agreement is purported to bring clinical expertise through supervised counseling with students, there remain significant concerns associated with the lack of oversight in place for these interns. As employees have shared, these interns are often left to provide counseling services otherwise provided by fully credentialed personnel. The continuation of such scenarios is sure to save the district money, as these interns provide service to the CUSD for no cost. But there has been and predictably will continue to be a cost to our students and their families receiving these counseling services from unqualified and uncredentialed student interns, under the guise that they are fully fledged members of the CUSD community. And worse, those students and families who often suffer most from these scenarios are the very students and families who are the least prepared to advocate for themselves in the counseling process, and often have the greatest counseling needs in comparison to their student peers. Thank you.
Thank you. May I get a motion?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda and agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay.
Eric?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
I'm aye.
Okay, moving on to our student representative report with Angel.
All right. Student representative report provided by me, Angel Pineda, senior at Carpinteria High School, but let's get on with it. Tomorrow is the first day of finals at Carpinteria High School. Finals will be administered Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week. And just a reminder that finals are held on a minimum day schedule, which is really fantastic. ASB has selected the Mar Monte Hotel for the 2025 prom venue. This event will be held on May 17th, 2025, and I will gladly provide you guys with more information once the date is closer. Carpinteria FFA has sold out their poinsettias during their annual sales and have sold over 300 poinsettias to the local community. We want to thank everyone who supported the students in this incredible endeavor. Winter sports are in full swing. Please consider attending one of the many events to support our student athletes. It's very rewarding to see our local fans up on the stands at all these competitions. Our annual Jim Beshore Holiday Cage Classic will run Friday, Saturday, and Monday. Please join us at the Carpinteria High School gym for this very special event. Finally, I want to remind everyone that we will be back in class from our winter break on Thursday, January 9th, 2025. Thank you very much.
Angel.
Thanks, Angel.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Angel from the board? Nope. All right. Thank you very much, Angel. Public comment on our student representative report.
Alrighty, so first I want to thank Angel for sharing the details contained in the student report. Once again, he brings the good news of what's going on with students at the high school in an enthusiastic and a positive manner. You blow me away with your ability to do that. You've always been that way, and you continue to be that way, and I'm sure you're going to continue to be that way, so thank you. Know that all the faculty and support staff that worked with these high school students, and especially these seniors that are preparing for such big events in their lives, that we're all rooting for you. You may not have talked to some of us for a long time. You may not have been with some of those who are, maybe you don't, some might not even remember some of those kindergarten, first grade, names, but they know the faces and they know the heart that went into it, and we're all pulling for you all, and do know that. And also, I want to personally thank you for standing up and sharing so vulnerably what you did this evening. It really speaks to the crises that we're in the district and how it affects our students, and we really hope that everybody watching, and certainly those 5 of you and Miss Green, really understand what's going on here and think about that when you're making decisions in the future. So thank you again.
Okay, moving on to our superintendent's report.
Thank you. Tonight, I'd like to begin with appreciation, and I'd like to recognize our classroom and special education instructional assistants who support students and teachers in our schools. My next item is the screening students for risk of reading difficulties. Ed Code Section 53008 requires that all local school districts to assess students from kindergarten to grade 2 for risk of reading difficulties with a screener from the approved CDE list that beginning no later than the 25-26 school year. On or before December 31st, 2024, the approved CDE list will be voted on by the Reading Difficulties Risk Screener Selection Panel. And on or before June 30th of 2025, school district governing boards serving kindergarten to grade 2 shall adopt one of the or more screeners from the approved CDE list. Currently, our elementary schools are piloting the UCSF Multitudes Reading Screener in second grade classrooms. Reading intervention teachers at our elementary schools provide small group, targeted, and systemic instruction for struggling readers. My next item is about our high school student performances. The CHS Muses performed The Canterville Ghost, adapted from the Oscar Wilde story last week, December 4th through the 7th, and last night the CHS band concert was held with both the orchestra and the Muses performing holiday choral selections. My next item is news about the anatomy class at the high school. CHS anatomy teacher, Miss Rogan, organized an enriching field trip to Santa Barbara City College Biomedical Department, Westmont College Downtown Nursing Campus, and Westmont College Campus. At SBCC, students had the unique opportunity to participate in an anatomy lab dissecting a cadaver under the guidance of experienced professionals. This hands-on experience provided invaluable insights into human anatomy. During the visit to the Westmont's downtown nursing campus, CHS students were taken through rotating stations to listen to lung and heart sounds in mannequin patients, perform CPR, tour the facilities, and speak with current nursing students. The trip culminated with a campus tour and lunch at the main Westmont College campus. We extend our sincere gratitude to Ms. Rogan for organizing this remarkable field trip. We also thank Santa Barbara City College Biomedical Science Department and Westmont College for their warm hospitality while providing our students with these invaluable learning experiences. My next item is about Carpinteria Family School. On this Thursday, December 19th at 6 o'clock, CFS students will perform a musical, The Holiday Show, in which Moose learns about the winter holiday celebrations from his forest friends. The next item is regarding the parent involvement at the middle school. Carpinteria Middle School has a group of 6th grade parents to help supervise lunchtime. Since the beginning of the year, CMS volunteer parents assist with supervision in the lunch lines, interact with students and create rapport, and facilitate structured games on the field, the pickleball court, and the gym. Options for students at lunch include indoor and outdoor volleyball and basketball, pickleball, gaga ball, structured soccer, football catch, and occasionally flag football. About 75% of CMS students are engaging in these lunchtime activities, which facilitate a calm, productive, and fun atmosphere for the campus. We appreciate the volunteer parents and thank them for their ongoing support. CUSD partner Daybreak Health is now offering a free webinar in English and Spanish on January 22nd at 6 o'clock for parents to learn about healthy communications and relationships with their children. Led by a licensed clinician, parents will learn about strategies to broach difficult conversations with their children. Registration information will be posted on Parent Square. My next item is regarding our partnership with United Way. CUSD is partnering with United Way to provide a free winter break program for TK to 5 students January 2nd through the 8th at Canalino School. This extended learning break program will offer daily literacy practice, STEM activities, social emotional learning, outdoor play, and community exploration during the week. And my last item is exciting news about Measure U. Move-in day for the Canalino Learning Center has been rescheduled for late December, and the opening ceremony is Wednesday, January 22nd at 3:30. The new TKK building project at Aliso has now been registered with DSA, and the work on the construction documents are anticipated to be completed at the end of the calendar year, and DSA submittal remains scheduled for January 2025. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? I have a couple, comments, questions. Comments, first of all. The screening for students, this is a really necessary opportunity for so many of our students that are struggling. They don't understand why they're struggling. Their parents don't understand why they're struggling. And it turns out they can't see or hear properly. And so this early screening is so important. I got the email today in Parent Square, and it gives the parents all the information about it. And this is just a really important opportunity for our students. Unfortunately, I missed the Muses performances. I wasn't able to go, but I've heard some really great things about it. The anatomy class trip with Ms. Rogan, I know from all that this encompassed, she took a lot of time outside of the classroom to pull this together. And it was extraordinary to do this. And so truly grateful for this opportunity and for her to do this for our kids, especially using the newer Westmont nursing facility. That's a great opportunity. Parent involvement at CMS, really excited about this. I've heard great feedback from the parents. This is something years ago we had hoped to be able to do, something like this, and then unfortunately COVID, and it really wasn't compatible. So I'm glad that this is happening. It's always been this weird, like we go from elementary school where parents are on campus all day long, helping in the classroom, doing all the things. And then for so long, you'd get to middle school and it was like, see ya, we don't want you here. And it felt very strange and counterintuitive to not use the resource of parents on campus. So I'm glad they found a good way to do this, a balance, and that it's productive. And then on the United Way partnership for the TK to 5 winter break program, are students, how do students enroll? Do parents have to enroll their students, or are families notified that this is a good fit for their child? Like, how do they get access to this?
Both ways.
Okay.
Both ways, and they're all enrolled.
Okay.
Yeah, we have over 55 students.
Cool. Okay, public comment on the
I just have
sorry.
one question. On the screening, do you know if they're screening for tracking issues? Like, I know the Lions used to do, still does eye screening, but I just know that a lot of kids, especially, have difficulty reading because their eyes don't track the same. And so they just, like Olivia, our daughter, had it, and so she didn't like to read at all. And we figured it out, and then all of a sudden she became a good reader. I just didn't know if that was part of the screening process.
I don't think they're going to identify what the cause is. They're going to identify that.
If they have an issue.
Yes, if they have an issue. And then there will be further assessments.
Thanks.
Anything else? Okay. Public comment on the superintendent's report, please.
Alrighty, so Superintendent Rigby's appreciation for our district's instructional assistants couldn't be more appropriate. CUSD's instructional aides provide critical support in some of the most challenging environments in the district. They serve across the district, working with many of the most at-risk student populations we serve. IAs, more than any other job classification, have felt the impact of the district's labor shortages. They are often shuffled around at a moment's notice to serve students and support academic content they have not had adequate time to familiarize themselves with, or even worse, that demand a level of training our IAs have not received. Many of CUSD's IAs, whom are known by first name by students, families, and teachers, have been with the district for many years. They remain with us after many administrative changes, curricular changes, the pandemic, fires, debris flows, and then even threats of layoffs after that. Yet, they were admonished for expressing their dissatisfaction when hiring practices gave hiring bonuses to new employees, but not to those who remained with the district. Then they watched those same newer employees receive salaries that exceeded their own after they'd provided 10, 15, or 20 years of service to the district. So, although the appreciation is well warranted and long overdue, there is more to it than that. Union leadership must share the following because we are obligated, or I should say because we are not obligated to share conditions as they ought to be, but rather as they are. When Superintendent Rigby shares her, quote, appreciation for classroom and special education instructional assistants, it may not have been exactly as it appears or sounds. Ms. Rigby's appreciation, when translated and informed by many instructional assistants who have reached out to union leadership, could otherwise read like this. Ms. Rigby expresses her appreciation for the instructional assistants who chose not to share their voice, experience, and concerns at this evening's meeting, but instead chose to sit this one out. It's not a coincidence that Ms. Rigby's appreciation specifically included our special education instructional aides. Many, if they were to speak openly, would expose the district's failure to provide SPED students with their legal right to specialized instruction, support, and resources contained in their IEPs, 504s, and similar legally binding documents. You heard about that from others beyond myself today, didn't you? Many IAs don't share these experiences with the public, either out of fear of administrative retaliation or the professional instability that speaking up would bring. You heard that as well. As a result, the mismanagement, concerns for student safety, and failure to provide services to SPED students who are entitled go unaddressed, just as the accountability that Superintendent Rigby so deserves. When considering Ms. Rigby's expression of appreciation, we should be realistic about what may be motivating her gratitude. Thank you.
Moving on to G1, Memorandum of Understanding between Carpinteria Unified School District, CUSD, and California College Guidance Initiative, CCGI. The board is asked to approve the MOU between CUSD and CCGI to enhance student preparedness for college and career success. California has implemented the California College Guidance Initiative. This state-funded platform provides students with essential tools to explore college options, identify career paths, understand financial aid opportunities, plan their coursework, and gain insights into job market trends. CCGI serves as the centralized hub for students to apply to California State University's University of California campuses and complete the free application for federal student aid, FAFSA. All public high schools in California are mandated to adopt CCGI by 2026. The presentation will be made by CHS Principal Gerardo Cornejo.
Good evening. So I'm here to give you more information about what CCGI is, which is the California College Guidance Initiative. This is actually now a requirement for most grants that we write. It takes about 6 to 7 months for this to come alive. One of the biggest things is how do we work with our data, our course offerings, our transcripts to daily sync with CCGI so that the data is accurate as students apply for colleges. So I'm going to give you an example. This is what a student would see when they apply. So every student in the state of California already has an account. It does not come live until we apply for the MOU. This is a free program for all schools, for all students. And the nice thing about it is that the counselors also get to follow the students. So when a student applies for FAFSA, the counselors will be able to see whether they've submitted it, or they're still halfway done, they can call in the student. If they have applied for a college, they are able to follow the application to make sure it's been completed and has been submitted. A lot of times students will say, I've submitted the application, but it has not gone through. So this way, the counselors can speak to the students, and the student says, well, I submitted it last night. I don't think so. You forgot to push a button. So as the students come in onto the application, there's a menu above, and then you have the different A topics at the bottom. So we're gonna go through the bottom, the academic, and one of the things about it is this is a one portal. So students don't need to go to different websites. It is all from one website. And the account follows the student throughout their career in the state. So if they move, the account goes with them. So they don't lose any of the information. So let's go to the academic planner. So the academic planner is very interesting in the fact that this component of the program is speaking daily to our ARIES database. It reviews the grades and it makes it into a nice graph for the students to know whether they're meeting the A through G requirements. So this is the GPA that the student has at the high school, and it's based on what students are taking. So here, the students, this is a typical 12th grade student, they have the grade for the courses that they've taken, and they're currently, meaning that they're going to be taking a 12th grade world history or sheltered U.S. history. I'm just giving you an example. These are the grades for English, which is breaking it down into the A through G eligibility guidelines. And there's no grade here because the student is probably in their 7th semester, and they're still waiting to complete that additional last semester before they graduate. So as the student reviews this, they can say, wait a minute, there's a class missing, or, I took that class as a dual enrollment and it's not showing up. So this is a way for students to visually see what is being put into each category. And at the bottom, these are the ones that there are questions. So here's an example. There's a D. So it's telling the student, this does not meet the criteria, so you need to retake that class. But at the bottom, these are additional coursework. So this is, somebody took it probably at another high school, or there could be a city college dual enrollment class that the student took that is on the transcript, but the system does not know where to put it. So this is a way for the student to visually see where their courses fall. A lot of times students will apply currently, and then they get an email from the college saying, tell us about this course, where does it fall? So this is a way for, before they submit, they know exactly where everything is going to fall. So currently our local colleges are using also to apply to community colleges, but notice the GPA, this is the high school transcript, but when you apply to the Cal State system, the GPA is recalculated based on because they take away all the like PE classes. They'll take all those courses, TAs, all those courses don't count, and these are just the academic A through G courses that fall in. So here's an example of what their GPA at Cal State University system, what it would look like, and notice now they have a check mark. So this is telling our student, you've completed the A component of the A through G, and you have a GPA here. These are 2 years required, 2 years completed. The same thing with English. Remember we mentioned that there was that class. The same thing with math. 4 years recommended, 3 years required. So this student is going for 4 years. And notice everything that is in green, it's got a check mark telling the student you've completed this. Remember that D we mentioned earlier? Well, it's telling the student, yeah, you completed it, but you haven't met the criteria. There's no check mark here. So they're going to have to go back and take that class either through City College, an additional course at the high school, or credit recovery. And these are the courses that the student also took for the letter G. At the bottom, you will notice these are courses but not found in our database or in their database. So all of our courses that we have at Carpinteria High School, we upload to what is called UC doorways. So each class falls into one of the categories. About 95% of our courses fall into those A through G categories. A, B, C, and each letter is for a specific category. So the letter G is the electives. So any parent can go onto our UC Doorways course list, and they can see all the courses that we have at Carpinteria High School that fall in a specific letter. So this is right here telling us we don't know where this is falling. Maybe they took it online. Maybe they took it at another school, and we did not code it correctly, or that school did not code it correctly. So this is telling the student, before you submit, go and check this information. So this is for the Cal State system. But let's assume that the student's going to apply for the UC system. Notice the GPA changes because they have different criteria. And it goes through the same process. And then you have the legend here of what it stands for. These are if you want to go and apply, I'm not going to do that so I don't have to get out of the system. Students will click here and it will take them directly to the website to apply for the Cal State system or the UC system. So this is the academic planner. The other nice thing about it is that it's got various categories. So this is where the student has entered items of what do they see for themselves in the future. We currently do this in our Get Focused, Stay Focused class in the 9th grade, but now it's embedded in this program. My career plan, what do I want to do in the future? So here, it is telling me I want to do this, I want to be an agent or business. So if I click here, it will take me to give me more information about what colleges offer that degree, how much does it cost, what's the outlook in the next couple of years, and then there's another career. So it's giving me all the careers that I have selected, and most of these careers are also selected by the student, or they can also do a career interest profile. So here's an example of, you can also take, I don't know if you've ever heard of the 7 intelligences, or, some of the skills that you may have, personality. Some people like working on the front line. Some people like working in the back without working with a lot of people. So this is the career assessments. You can also have career search tool. It tells you if you're interested in a specific career, what colleges offer that course or that degree, what are the requirements for admissions, and what's the outlook for that career. And this is also, again, choosing a career, which then goes back to the interest profiler. The other thing that this has is when you go to my college plan, it tells me I'm interested in going to this college. It is a public school for 2 years. This is another school that I've selected. But if I click on, just an example, I'm going to go to, so this is the colleges that I'm interested. But it also tells me what college visits have you done in the past? Because this is also going to be sent to the counselors when they're writing those letters of recommendation. The counselors have access to this, so they can go back and right now they do a brag sheet. I visited this school, I'm interested in this. This will all be ready for the counselors. The counselors will have access to this that the student has prepared. This again goes to the application directly, where you want to apply. This is the list of majors. So I can go in here and I say, this is what I've, on this date, I really liked this major. And then you can also upload test scores that you have. The other nice thing about it is that a lot of times students will go and get financial aid award letters, and they have no idea what that means. This also provides us with the opportunity to do a review of the grants and scholarships that you've gotten to find out how much do you still need to pay for the college, whether you're going to come out with debts. It also gives you information about scholarships. So this is a one hub for all of our students. So as we intend to have this online by next year, every student will have something to do with this as they move forward in our system. For 9th graders, is perhaps doing the career inventory. For 10th graders, start doing some college and career majors reviews. For juniors, after we do the college visits, is figuring out what colleges do you want to go to. And again, this is right now when a student goes to see a counselor, it's like, have you filled this thing? I don't know. This is the one way of us finding all the information for our students in one database. So this is going to make everything much simpler. So when the students apply for a college, they will know exactly where each course falls, what it meets, and what their GPA will be like when they apply. This is free. This is, again, we are required to be part of this CCGI by 2026. So we hope to have it done a year earlier and have it with our class that begins next year.
Gosh, darn. Thank you. Questions from the board?
Thank you.
Or comments?
That's great. I'm curious how it integrates with the Common App.
It does not integrate with the Common App. There is another system that we could purchase. The Common App is not something that the state of California controls because you have a lot of private colleges outside of the state. This is a state database that follows the students through their state CSIS number. But as we move forward, I don't doubt that they'll probably incorporate the Common App into this.
Because I think, aren't the Cal States using the Common App now?
They are, but the database that we're using, and because this is housed in Sacramento through the CCGI is paid for by us taxpayers, so this is not going to go away, but they're going to probably get some pressure to add the Common App.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about it right now is that when we tell students go and apply for a college, soon they will also be able to apply for community colleges. So if I go here, just an example, if I go to college applications, I can apply for community college, and it takes me to this website. So they don't have to find the website. Sometimes we're worried whether they're actually putting the information on the right website. They may have one or two letters off. This takes them directly to the website that is needed for them to apply. More community college are moving into this one application so that the students are able to move from one district to another.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep,
thanks. I think I've mentioned this to you before, but I think we should be encouraging our students to apply out of state. Not just because it gets them more, experiences outside of California, but what we found was that that the cost for some of the out-of-state tuition, as long as your grades are good, is actually less than what the tuition, room and board, is at the Cal States and UCs.
Yes, and the nice thing about it is that when you do search community colleges, they do have information, because we've been playing around with this, they do have information of a lot of private schools, independent schools, but they have not branched out to out of California websites or colleges. There is another application out there for Common App and for out of state that is called SCORE. Some of the schools north of us use it, and they get charged per student. But the idea is for us not to have different databases. And right now, the Common App, we have enough support on our counseling department to support the student. But the idea, and again, we are meeting with our CCGI partners literally every month. We have a meeting on the 22nd of next month, and I will bring up the idea of the Common App.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else before I jump in? Okay. Thank you. This was really great. And I really appreciate kind of the exercise that this will help the kids go through their 4 years to figure out where they want to go. Are there any like trade or vocational schools also?
Yes. So if I go to college, if I go to colleges and I do college tour search, you have independent, and then you try to do the majors. So if I want to go to agriculture science, I want to do agribusiness, and I apply. So these are the colleges that is telling me regarding that specific field of study. I can go in and I can type in college, private. I can type in level of college. I can type in how much I want to pay, the type of environment of a school. I want a size of a school, acceptance rate of a school, specialty schools. So if I can come here, I can do, I want a Native American institution, so it will give me the information based on the criteria that I've selected. I can also do a search based on the cost, religious affiliation, and sports.
Wow, that's great.
So, again, all these websites, normally we would have to give students a list of websites to go to. This is just in one place. So a counselor can literally go into the classroom as a ninth grade or whatever grade we choose to start implementing this. They can do lessons now early on, and the counselors can start working with the students in their ninth grade so that they become more familiar with what the student is interested as they move forward through the system.
Yeah, I definitely see the value in this, and it's great that it's finally there. So it links with Aries automatically, which is great. And then our counselors will follow through.
They also will get
Is
an
there
account.
any additional effort on part of teachers to do anything to input into this? No. Okay.
So the moment the student gets their schedule, those courses will show up in those on that list of courses that they don't have a grade. Those courses that already have been given a grade, both systems will sync with each other, and they will take whatever's on the transcript, then go to the UC doorways, take a look at the course that we have, our course number, our course name, and it will look to find that course on the UC Doorways website and say, there's a match here, and that goes here.
Okay.
So as we work with the program, it's trying to figure out, like for example, I went to a workshop back in early September, and when they gave out a list of all the courses that are not able to be synced correctly with other high schools, we only had one class that was off by the course number. And that was a course that we don't offer anymore. But other schools had lists after lists of courses because we're only one high school district. In many school districts, it's one person putting in the information for all the high schools, or one high school will use that name for this course and that other high school uses this name for that course. The students transfer and then things don't speak to each other well. So we're very lucky in the fact that we have one high school.
Yeah.
We have one database, and it's very consistent.
How does it integrate with the FAFSA?
So when a student is going to apply for financial aid, so you go into the financial aid. So this is the applications, and it'll take you directly to apply. It gives you the information. It tells you what you need to. Gives you some lessons, and then you can go directly to the financial aid website. If you're not eligible for a website, that application, it will tell you other resources that you may have.
Okay. So, but it basically takes you outside the system so you can complete the FAFSA.
But the system's connection is secured, so it's not like, oh, it's a different website. I was putting in social security numbers that I thought it was FAFSA, but it may have been FAFSA dot something. Yeah. So
not .org.
Yes.
Or
So again, this is one of the right now when we go into the classrooms, we ask the students, let's do a FAFSA checklist. By doing this, there's a financial checklist. What will you need? I will need all this information. So attend a Cash for College workshops. A lot of the times when we will get college visits or when we have Cash for College, all that information will be inputted into this database, and students will get an email saying there's been an updated event that you may be interested in.
Great.
So the schools in Ventura some of them have already started doing this. Some of the schools up north, there's about half of them that have started. And again, it goes back to the first step is having our system speak to their system to make sure that there are no hiccups.
And then just to clarify, the class of 2025 will not be using this. It'll be the current, so it'll start next fall. Okay. And then, let's see here. You asked about financial aid.
There are some things that as we move forward in the system, we can say, we're going to do it we use this lesson with the 8th graders before they come to the high school, perhaps course planning. So those are the things that's the nice thing about this is that every day they're adding new tools to this portal, but it's been very refreshing to see how professional they are, how they're willing to make adjustments based on our needs, because they want to make sure that this is a successful program, that it doesn't get launched and then a year later it says, nah, we don't want to use it, it's not feasible. But everything that we've seen and played around with as counselors and as a teacher and as a student, because we have accounts for all those, has been very interesting for us to see how everything is in one place, easy to use, with a lot of information for everybody. And the nice thing about it is that you can also translate this into whatever language you want. And a lot of times when you translate websites, it does not translate the graphic. This one does translate the graphic into whatever language you're interested in.
Fabulous. Any further questions or comments? Okay. Thank you so
very
much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yep, so public comment. We're going to go ahead and take public comment on G1.
I'd like to move to approve the MOU with the CCGI and, let's see if I get that right. The memorandum of understanding with the CUSD and the California College Guidance Initiative as presented.
I'll second.
Discussion? I think it's great. I think because having gone through that process now 3 times, I think can be very confusing, time consuming, and to compile all of your grades and transcripts and extracurricular. I just think it's really going to be helpful to our students and to our counselors to keep everyone on track. And hopefully they will integrate it with the Common App.
Yeah, I think having this program being centralized, but also having the visioning process in there, all integrated, so they can see all the different aspects of how it comes together, all of the financial aid options and scholarship access to the different scholarship databases. It's really overwhelming, and so having it all in one spot is pretty cool. We haven't gone through this process yet in my house, but I remember when I did it, and it was pretty hard.
And it's also a tool that families can use. It's not just between student and counselor. Now it's a tool that's available so parents and students can have conversations about it, and the information is all right there.
Well, the parents can actually see what's
so
what they're missing.
So they can understand that process better. That's
great.
really a good tool.
Great. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful. Moving on to H1 warrants. The board is asked to approve the warrants for the period of 11/22/24 through 12/12/24 in the amount of $2,800,309.45. Warrants are issued once a week on Thursdays. The report format shows check number, check date, payee, brief account description, payment comment, and check amount. Questions from the board on our warrants? Okay, seeing none, we move to public comment on warrants.
Okay, so the district's legal cost for personnel and negotiations totals $36,795 for this 2-week warrant. Therefore, another $36,000+ is being added to the district's 9-month total of over $500,000, $500,000, $500,000, which is just a fraction of the $3.5 million spent or of accrued debt in the previous 18-month period. These legal costs are now 10 times higher annually than the district knew before the arrival of Superintendent Rigby and the majority of our current school board. Legal fees that account for approximately half of the district's cost overruns cited in the end of the year 23-24 budget presentation in June as well. It is fair to say that district leadership's performance has been truly extraordinary in the area of legal actions and expenditures. And many employees and community members are pleased that some of you have vowed to resign your seats when the district's current appeal of the state's unanimous decision against the CUSD is rejected. Unfortunately, in the meantime, as long as CUSD continues to misappropriate tax dollars this way, here is where these tax dollars will not be invested. The district will not invest these taxpayer dollars, towards providing routine classroom supplies that have been denied at several school sites. Supplies like paper, color printers, adequately functioning copiers, toner, etc. The district will not invest these $500,000 to improve recruitment and compensation values that help to resolve staffing shortages across the district and create stability for district employees, which in turn creates stability for our students and their families. Improving working conditions that would stem the exodus of highly qualified talent from CUSD will not be invested in, such as increasing classroom support in the form of more instructional aides or lowering case numbers for SPED teachers so that they may better serve their students and families. It won't be invested in bringing back a full-time district nurse who is not on a limited contract for a comparatively extraordinary hourly wage. The money will not be invested in improving safety practices and training that would prevent the injury of students and employees in the teaching and learning environment. These injuries keep stacking up, with another employee, again, now on injury leave in just the last 2 weeks. We asked this when it was just a few individuals harmed, and now we ask again, after others can be included on that list, how many employees and students have already been injured at Catalino this year? Are any of you keeping count? Or how about investments in better supporting behaviorally challenged students, migrant ed students, or English language newcomers?
Thank you. Your time is up.
There's a lot more than that. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll move to approve the warrants as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
H2, gifts, grants, and donations. We have 2A, a grant from Chevron through Carpinteria Education Foundation to Carpinteria Middle School. We're asked to accept the grant from Chevron through CEF of $20,000 to the Carpinteria Middle School for the Fishing Youth Program, the one that was approved earlier on the consent agenda. Any questions from the board? No? Okay. Public comment on 2A?
COS leadership and the employees we represent want to thank those community members who provide grants and gifts to CUSD without any unethical or unprofessional strings attached. This grant appears to be one, and as it is tied to the consent agenda that you've already approved, it seems you now have an obligation to accept this grant. We can't figure out why you wouldn't, but what we have had a hard time figuring out is where this grant and others like it can be found in the first interim report. If Mr. Caff or any of the board members or Ms. Rigby would like to explain, I'd be happy to yield the rest of my time to that explanation. Thank you.
May I get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve as presented, and thanks to Chevron. Thank you, Jamie, for coordinating with the fishing guys.
Yeah. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Yeah. So this was an opportunity we had this program last year. There was a handful of kids that this really spoke to, and so I pursued with Chevron through their community investment grant program to secure this again this year. And Chevron has been very generous with their community investments with Carpinteria over the years. And they have a new representative. He is really excited to be part of the community. He knows he has big shoes to fill from Sarah Dearman, but he's doing a great job. And I look forward to how we can partner on other projects in the future.
Great, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. 2B, donation from La Centra Summerlin Foundation to Carpinteria Athletic Booster Club. Board is asked to accept this donation from La Centra Summerlin for $20,000 to boosters for the principal's discretionary fund. Any questions? Okay. Public comment on 2B?
Well, wow, is what employees say when they hear about this. Last board meeting, the Centra Summerlin provided approximately $120,000 in grants, gifts, and donations. This evening, they provide another $20,000. Cause Leadership and the employees we represent continue to thank those community members who provide grants and gifts to CUSD without any unethical or unprofessional strings attached. Although it remains a bit unclear where La Centra Summerlin funds originate, we appreciate the benefits that they bring to CUSD students in the community. We hope that these donations have no connection to the very sale of products that are simultaneously complicating the lives and well-being of district students while on our campuses. Union leadership has inquired directly into this topic and is awaiting a response from La Centra Summerlin staff. We look forward to confirming our appreciation without any reservations shortly. In the meantime, 120 plus $20,000, that's $140,000. And we are still trying to figure out where these grant revenues and grants like them can be found in the first interim report. And if you would be willing to share that, Mr. Caff, esteemed board members, or Ms. Rigby, I'd be happy to yield the rest of our time. Once again, thank you.
May I get a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
I'll second that. Thank you, La Centra Summerlin.
Yeah, thank you again. All in favor? Aye. 2C, donation from Mark Gonzalez from the Kim and Andrew D. Bush Family Foundation to Carpinteria High School. We are being asked to accept this donation from Mark Gonzalez from the Kim and Andrew D. Bush Family Foundation of $500 to Carpinteria High School Principal's Discretionary Fund. Questions from the board? Okay, public comment on 2C.
Thank you. Cause Leadership and the employees we represent want to again thank those community members who provide grants and gifts to the CUSD without any unethical or unprofessional strings attached. We appreciate Mr. Gonzalez. Thank you, Mark, for the Kim and Andrew D. Bush Family Foundation donation and their generosity. It's terrific. We also wonder where this grant and other grants like it could be found in the first interim report. The first interim report where we have enormous concerns about revenues being underestimated and expenditures being overestimated, thus driving down our district's reserves at a time when we're bargaining available monies for employee compensation. So I yield the rest of my time to either Mr. Caff, Mr. Schaefer, or any of our board members and Ms. Rigby to clarify where in the first interim report will we find that. You are permitted to answer. You're aware of that, right? long as the community is aware of that. I think that's what's most important. Okay, once again, thank you.
May I get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Thank you, Mark.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 2D, donation from CHS Athletics Boosters Club to CHS Athletics. The board is asked to accept the following donations from the Boosters Club to the athletic department of $11,000 and $11,014.92 to girls and boys basketball teams for soccer uniforms and $12,000 for fall and winter athletics expenses. Questions? Public comment on 2D.
Alrighty, so once again, cause leadership and the employees we represent want to thank those community members who provide grants and gifts to the CUSD without any unethical and unprofessional strings attached. The CHS Athletic Boosters deserve recognition again for their consistent support of district students and learning opportunities both inside and outside of the classroom. Now, not to beat a dead horse here, okay, but we continue to wonder where these $23,000 worth of grant monies and grants like it can be found in the first interim report. That's the same interim report that we already clarified we have concerns about, where revenues are underestimated, expenditures are overestimated, and the result is that it drives down the district reserves at a time when the district and the union, district employees, are trying to determine available monies for salary increases. We'd hate to think that's intentional, so I yield time again for clarification. Mr. Caff, if you'd like to clarify, any of our board members or Ms. Rigby, please do. Ms. Rigby, were you going to clarify?
No, I'm not going to clarify.
Oh, I thought I heard you say something.
No.
Okay. Will anybody clarify? Thank you once again.
May I get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve as presented.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Thank you, boosters, for buying uniforms.
Yes, thank you, boosters. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're moving on to the 23-24 annual audit. The board is asked to review and approve the 23-24 annual audit in accordance with Education Code 41020.3. By January 31 of each year, the governing board of each local education agency shall review at a public meeting the annual audit of the local education agency for the prior year and any audit exceptions identified in the audit, the recommendations or findings, if any, management letter is issued by the audit, and any description of correction or plans to correct any exceptions or management letter issue. There are no financial statement audit findings for the 23-24 fiscal year. However, there are 3 program audit findings in 23-24 which are explained, including the district corrective responses on page 82 through 84.
Well, for the 23-24 fiscal year, our auditors, Christie White and Associates, issued an unmodified opinion. An unmodified opinion is the best type of opinion a school district can receive because it basically means that the audit team did not find anything significant. As was just mentioned, there were no financial statement audit findings. However, we did have 3 program findings. Our first finding was with regards to our ACES attendance. The auditors determined that the ACES attendance records were not matching the school attendance numbers. So we have looked into it, and we have implemented a process which should eliminate this finding going forward. That was finding number 1.
Excuse me, the ACES is our after-school program.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
thank you very much.
People may not.
Thank you. Finding number 2, this is with regards to site attendance. This is a repeat finding. And it has to do with the district not having a CDE-approved electronic digital signature attendance system. We've been working on this with CDE for more than a year, and we are making headway. We've had some recent correspondence with CDE, and there's one more final step that we have to do with CDE and our auditors, but we're hopeful that we can get this issue resolved in the next couple months, so hopefully we won't see this in our 24-25 audits. And our third finding is with regards to classroom teacher salaries. And we refer to finding number 3 as like a CEA finding. CEA basically stands for current expense of education. So with regards to this CEA finding, the district has already filed a waiver with the county office. Now, what's driving this finding is that our district, like other districts in Santa Barbara County, did not meet their CEA percentage. For districts like ours, if we're unified, there's ed code that says that 55% of your expenses should be spent on classroom teacher salaries. Now, even though that is the ed code, there are exceptions to that rule. So, just for some history, here's how SBCEO has been dealing with this for the past couple of years. So after the unaudited actuals are filed with the county office, like for instance, we're talking, let's say 22-23. So the county office would review the waiver that went along with the CEA finding. So the county office would review this waiver and then it would approve it in a fairly short term. So let's say within 30 days. So if the county office received a waiver in October, then the district would receive an approved waiver from SBCEO, let's say in early November. It would take that approved waiver and send it to the auditors. And so the auditors would not write a finding because the issue had been resolved per the County Office of Education. So that's what was happening in 22-23 and going further back. Now, for the 23-24 year, SBCEO changed their process. So now what they're doing is, even though a district like ours, where we do have this issue, and by the way, there are hundreds of districts in the state who have this exact same issue and who are doing this exact same process. So now what SBCEO is doing is that they're waiting until after the auditors have issued a finding, then they will take a look at the waiver and approve the waivers at a later date. I've inquired of the county office as to when they'll be getting around to approving waivers for our county, and they said it'll most likely be in the spring, so we're hopeful that maybe by April we'll have an approved waiver from the county office for this CEA finding.
Did they give you any indication as to why they made the change?
They did not. And since this was from last year, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I don't have any information as to why SBCEO changed their process, unfortunately.
So most of our districts will have audit findings this year for this CEA because they will not receive their waivers in time. Most of the districts in our county.
It just seems like there should be some sort of explanation.
Yeah.
As you know, because it's a fairly big change in policy. Why they would make such a change with no explanation?
They did not give us an explanation.
Okay. Okay. And just, sorry, to clarify, we have been getting this waiver in years past?
I looked
Or
at-
have we always been applying for this waiver? Because if it doesn't always show up, since it wasn't showing up previously.
Right. For 22-23, we did fall below the 55% that's required, but we fell under a different exception at that time, which has to do with low class size. I did explore that option for the district in 23-24, but unfortunately, we did not meet that exception. So we so we pursued the, basically the financial hardship exception. And so we've written that into the waiver and filed that with the county office.
Okay.
And prior to 22, 23, we were getting waivers then as right, right?
I don't have those prior years in front of me, so I would have to go back and look, but I can't answer that off the top of my head.
All right.
I'd like to know if is there a way to know if we had filed waivers before? Sure. Okay.
Sure, we can go back and look at the records.
Okay. Okay, so corrective action plan. Sorry, there's more beyond this?
So with regards to the corrective action plan, there's a large number of districts in California who are not meeting this. So in my experience, what tends to happen is once a district reaches this level, that they continue to file waivers. And given SBCEO's change in process, it's highly likely that we will be seeing this audit finding year after year. But we're not alone. There are other districts in Santa Barbara County that are, noticing this difference, and they'll be filing waivers with the county office as well. So in my opinion, this will be a recurring finding for which we'll have to file recurring waivers.
Okay. 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 And then, sorry, okay, that just threw me. On the, okay, so the teachers' attendance reports, I recall that, and I remember we were working on this last year as well. And I can't recall off the top of my head. I know I probably asked this, but we're not the only school using this system, I'm assuming, for attendance. This isn't some crazy thing.
No, it's
digital
just that
signatures.
it's taken the CDE years and years to work with us. This has been an audit finding for many years.
Okay.
To get their response, it's taken several years.
Okay. And then let's see here, we're compiling the attendance numbers for the ACES program. What are we doing, a certain program for attendance on that now that we weren't before, or what?
We're putting in place a process in which the after-school leaders are checking their attendance with ARIES. They're using the ARIES system in a more effective way.
Okay. So we are being asked to review and approve. Any further questions at this point? Not discussion, but questions. I feel like this is a glaring question, but because this is essentially unknown right now, this is the waiver's going to be looming over us till April.
Yes.
What happens in the meantime? What needs to happen? What should, I don't understand what happened. It's this weird limbo.
Yes. The county office basically hasn't given us any guidance on this, but it's my understanding that there's nothing we need to do at this time. Since we've already filed the waiver, at this point, we're just kind of in essentially a holding pattern until we, get their approval.
Okay, and I just want to be clear, are we anticipating approval of this waiver?
Yes.
Do we have any reason to not?
No.
It's pretty significant.
Yeah, and so just based on the number there. So what this basically means is that we would have to put that deficiency on our salary schedule. There's absolutely no way with our current budget that can work. And so on that basis of financial hardship, that's how we filed our waiver.
Okay, well, these are the findings.
I had a question
guess.
on the finding instructional materials. I thought we did have a hearing on instructional materials.
That was last year. That finding was last year's finding, and that just shows
Yeah.
the correction.
We had it this year.
All right,
It was
yeah.
a finding from,
All right.
23, 24.
Thought we did then too. All right.
I had said the same thing, and I tried to go back and didn't see it. We had, I think it was the year before that, where we adopted the new textbooks and things like that. But yeah, it wasn't there. And then we have home to school transportation.
Again, last year.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
You recall we did a transportation plan last spring.
thank you. Okay, that's covering all of the findings. I just want to make sure we went through all of them. Thank you. Public comment on the audit.
We encourage the community to turn to page 84 in the audit report, which is actually page 93 of the electronic PDF document attached to the board agenda. What the audit confirms is a significant detail. It pertains to the district's investments in employees or failure to invest in employees, critical resources needed to deliver effective and high-quality instruction and care to district students and families. Instead of investing approximately $3.5 million in the district's students, families, and learning, CUSD instead invested that money into failed attempts to punish elected employee representatives and obstruct the collective bargaining process. And as a result, the district did not meet the state's required investment in employees for 23-24. That's what everybody was talking about here while not talking about it. Under the section's condition and the section effect, quote, in the 23-24 fiscal year, Carpinteria Unified School District did not meet the minimum percentage requirement of 55%. CUSD spent 46.64% on classified teacher salaries. The district was below the minimum required percentage of 55% by 8.36%, which calculates out to a deficiency of, guess what? $3,522,000. Here's another way of looking at it. The $3.5 million the district did not invest in employees and instead invested in a tax on employee representatives is equivalent to a single salary year increase of 17%. Now that takes a lot to take in. That's a lot to take in. So allow me to repeat those figures. The $3,522,000 the district did not invest in employees and instead invested in a tax unanimously determined to be retaliatory, discriminatory, and unfounded by both California PERB and the state's Office of Administrative Hearings, is equivalent to a single year salary increase of over 17% when you offered employees 2 to 2.5% and gave yourselves 10 and 12. Now, further down the page, the district offers its excuse for this failure. Quote, the LCFF gives the district tremendous flexibility on how funds are used and has a requirement that supplemental concentration funds are spent according to the LCAP. However, CUSD's excuse simply does not hold water because neither the LCFF criteria nor any LCAP obligations required CUSD to spend $3.5 million on illegal attacks against employee representatives and to undermine the bargaining relationship. Union leadership rejects the district's excuse, and so should the community.
May I get a motion?
I'll move to approve the 23-24 annual audit as presented.
I'll second.
Discussion?
I think we had pretty good questions there. I think we'd just be good to get some of that information back on previous years.
I think yes, I agree. I would really like to know what things were like historically, and if we've been using a waiver or not.
My recollection is we have been.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I would, because it actually shows up, and it didn't show up before if we had. So, just verifying for the waiver. Yeah. Okay. We have a first, we have a second. All in favor of approving? Aye?
Aye.
Okay. H4, Resolution 24-934, Resolution of the Governing Board, Delegation of Governing Board Powers and Duties. The Board is asked to adopt Resolution 24-934, which authorizes Superintendent Diana F. Rigby and Assistant Superintendent Business Services Jason Caff to make cash and budget transfers between and within district funds as necessary for the payment of obligations of the district for 2025. This is an annual resolution as part of the organizational board meeting. Any questions? Public comment?
Thank you. There seems to be some confusion. Ms. Diamond, haven't you served on the school board for 4 full years?
Yes.
Thank you. Just making sure. Thank you.
I'd like to move to approve Resolution 24934 as presented.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Okay, go ahead.
Eric?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Am I?
Measure U, I-1, approval of moving proposal from Move Green. The board is asked to approve the proposal of moving estimate from Move Green for the Canalino Elementary Learning Center. The estimated fee of $9,866.20 will be paid with Measure U bond funds. Questions from the board? Public comment on I-1?
This is just a short and actually rare comment that we comment on Measure U. The union, we've been asked recently, why doesn't the union tend to comment on Measure U? And it's simply because we do not have the resources to oversee that aspect of the district's operations. So we have in the past trusted those who are on the Measure U Advisory Committee, and we are going to continue to do that until we can put those resources together. If anyone in the community would like to work with us on that, though, we're certainly game, and we would love to have a better and deeper understanding of the Measure U process if there's someone out there that would like to work with us. Thank you.
Do you have comments specifically to the proposal from Move Green, as that was the agenda item?
I just commented on Measure U, which is the agenda item.
I'll move to, I'd like to move to approve the proposal from Move Green as presented.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I-2, approval of change order number 1, Canalino Learning Center, American Modular Systems. The board is asked to approve change order number 1 for the Canalino Learning Center on February 14th, 2023. The board approved the proposal in the amount of $936,337 from American Modular Systems for the Canalino Learning Center. The project requires change order number 1, which includes the removal of mini split for IDF and replace with exhaust fan, as well as extra engineering for mat slab foundation. Change order number 1 is in the amount of $8,828.66, which will bring the total to $945,165.66 to be paid with Measure U funding. Questions from the board? Okay, public comment on I2, approval of the change order.
Once again, there appeared to be some confusion. So just for the sake of clarity, all three, including number 2, fall under the agenda item I, which is bold on the agenda, Measure U. Therefore, comments that we make that pertain to this item as a Measure U item or any Measure U item are permissible in this environment. And maybe Ms. Diamond could explain why our comments wouldn't be, or how they're considered not appropriate at this time. Thank you.
I'll move to approve change order number 1 as presented.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I3, approval of coastal development permit deposit to the city of Carpinteria. The board is asked to approve the deposit for coastal development permit from the city of Carpinteria for the Aliso TK building. The deposit fee of $12,500 based on the fee schedule will be paid with Measure U bond funds. Questions from the board?
I thought we had an agreement with the city that they weren't going to charge us for coastal development review since we were going through all these projects go through the DSA.
I'll review that, but I don't believe so.
No?
No.
Okay.
I'll review it.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That was just a point of contention when we started the projects, because they wanted total purview, and we disagreed with them in regard to because of the fact that we had to that the DSA had basically superseded that authority. Yeah. And I thought we just said we just didn't want to tack on extra expenses that really are unnecessary because we're the approval process is handled by the state. All right. Thank you.
So are you, well, this is just questions first. Okay. Public comment on I3, approval of coastal development permit deposit, City of Carpinteria. Okay, seeing none.
I'd like to move to table this until our next meeting so we could maybe get some more information. It's not going to hold anything up, I don't think, over the holidays, is it?
I don't know that.
All right.
I don't know. But you all make a decision.
I mean, it's not a huge amount of money. I just, it's more the.
It's a deposit of $12,000. That's
yeah,
it's a fair amount of money.
Should give it back if we're not required to.
That's true. It is a deposit. It is a deposit.
So they should return it to us.
Yeah. So I'll change that. I'll go ahead and move to approve this. With the understanding that we will look into it.
So just to clarify, the motion is to approve
it as presented.
As presented, but contingent upon
Well,
checking.
It doesn't. It's not contingent. We're just going to check on it.
Okay.
I'm just as presented. I'm moving to approve it as presented.
Okay.
I'll second.
Oh. Okay. Discussion, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. J, personnel. We have our personnel summary, 3 assignments, 1 resignation, and 1 release in probation. We're being asked to approve the recommended personnel items. Any questions from the board? Okay, public comment on J1, personnel summary.
Thank you. During the personnel agenda item and for a few board meetings back, and again this evening, union leadership and those we represent have provided observations pertaining to the value of economic stability of the district employees represented on this personnel summary and the impact that stability or lack thereof has on district students and families. Once again, we have a mid-year faculty resignation, and the district continues to hire to fill SPED positions that remain open, while simultaneously refusing to acknowledge that the SPED program in the district is under great duress, as also shared by several other speakers this evening. Lastly, you are aware that with Ms. Rigby, there has been a hiring trend where the new instructional aides hired this evening are receiving higher salary values than instructional aides who have been with the district and demonstrated high-quality professional competence for several years. Of recent, that has taken an even more absurd twist when these brand new hires cited on the personnel report this evening are being assigned to classrooms where their training, if there has been any, and their job classifications apply least. For example, of the IAs cited on this in the last two personnel summaries, some have been moved to the DLI classrooms and have neither received stipends nor have they proven any language proficiency. Meanwhile, 3 senior employees who had been working in DLI have been pulled to work in SPED classrooms to put out fires, but have shared that they have not been adequately trained themselves. Although the district may have legal authority to assign employees this way, that's on fairly thin ice. There is a big difference between being legally permissible and being smart, efficient, and we dare say effective. We ask that you look into these HR matters more carefully and at least determine if there is a reasonable basis for these ever increasing practices. We've been trying to share these concerns directly with Ms. Rigby and district administrators to little impact. And if the school board would like more specifics, please feel free to contact us directly. Thank you.
I'll move to approve the personnel summary as presented.
I'll second.
Discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and we are moving on to future agenda items. We're going to have a special education report, our CHS solar update, a budget study session, and a Brown Act update. Any questions on that from the board? That's what the few things to get us going in 2025. Okay, public comment on K.
Okay, thank you. Union leadership again asked the district to return the HR presentation of October 8th to the future board meeting agenda. In that presentation, the HR coordinator shared a slide that addressed the ethnic and socioeconomic background of district employees. The union asked the follow-up question, why would the ethnic and socioeconomic background of our labor force be relevant to the district's considerations if it is not relevant to the composition of our district leadership? Now, the district never explained why it included this slide or what value it believed the slide to contain, and we're still waiting for that explanation. But in the meantime, it is clear that the district believed that the ethnic and socioeconomic background of our labor force was a highly relevant detail to have included it in the district's short annual HR PowerPoint. And this is why union leadership requests remuneration, some form of transparent compensation for school board members, which we would also like to see on a future agenda item. We certainly don't make that recommendation because of our confidence in your performance, but we do promote the concept of remuneration because the obvious concerns associated with district leadership that clearly does not understand or adequately represent the vast majority of district students and families' economic experience and or cultural backgrounds. We recommend that board members receive some form of transparent compensation because we know that there are many qualified, hardworking, and interested community members who would otherwise run for these board seats if they could only afford to be as generous with their time as you all. Just take a look at the Carpinteria City Council, a true example of economic and cultural diversity, in no small part because they offer remuneration. Lastly, with yet another school shooting just yesterday, union leadership again promotes the inclusion and agenda we have requested on many occasions. Union leadership requests board resolution, which focuses on educating students on what to do if they come in contact or see a firearm. As we have shared, the students should stop what they are doing, don't touch, leave immediately the area, tell an adult that they trust right away, and call 911 immediately. We should be putting a resolution together and making sure that our students understand this. We've been asking for well over a year, and it baffles employees as to why you're not interested. Okay, beyond that, moving forward, happy holidays to you and your families, and we look forward to seeing you in January.
Board calendar, Monica?
You actually have to approve this one. This is the one where we add, because it's the 2025, and it's just the regular monthly items
The
that
ones we
we.
presented at the beginning of the
Well,
meeting?
that, but also like when we
It's-
do the different reports and all of that.
Oh,
Yes, like the Williams Act, every
All
quarter.
all of
and
the,
just
the topics for the different meetings that we have to have and when they're going to be shared.
And this is also part of the organizational annual meeting.
Yeah.
It just goes right here.
right here, yeah.
But there's nothing additional coming up that we need to be aware of. That's why I kind of threw it to you. Okay, thank you. Okay, the board is asked to approve the 25 board calendar annual items. The calendar will be included with the agenda to keep the board focused on actions and events that take place annually. And this is something that is done at this meeting every year to plan all of the different reports that have deadlines and things like that, presentations, LCAP, all those types of things. Any questions from the board on that? Okay.
No, I don't. I see public hearing on availability of textbooks and materials.
It's there. Okay.
I'll move to
It's because it's an action item, we have public comment on this. So L, board calendar, public comment. Okay, seeing none. May I get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve the calendar as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Board announcements.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays across the board, whatever you may be celebrating. Happy New Year. I just want to say the girls water polo had their alumni game last Saturday. It was great. The varsity girls won. And we had Miss DeWitt in goal. And so some of the girls had to disassociate teacher Miss DeWitt from goalie Mrs. DeWitt and definitely threw a few a few good ones at her. But it was really fun to see the alumni, but also the alumni parents and friends and family that all came from the community. Unfortunately, it was at the same time as the holiday parade, which was kind of a bummer. But it was still pretty well attended, and I know all the kids had a really great time, so that was awesome. And then, why did I have that written down? Oh, we're coming back on January 9th for school. I hope all of our families have a safe and healthy holiday time. Enjoy it. Take care. And for those that need the resource of the United Way program, right? Yeah. For the let's see, that chunk of time in January before we come back, it is available for families who need it. All right. Thank you. And we are adjourned.